My name is Marsha Seltzer, and I'm the director of the Waisman Center here at the University of Wisconsin in Madison. And I do research on families who have sons and daughters with disabilities, including Fragile X syndrome. We've been studying families for over 20 years, and our interests are how families adapt, not only in the early years after their child is diagnosed, but also as their child grows into adolescence and adulthood and across the years of adulthood. So families who have a son or daughter with a developmental disability are often looked at as one-dimensional people, families. And in the foreground is their son or daughter with a disability. But truly, these families, like all families, have multiple dimensions. They have areas of strength, and they have areas of challenges, many of which have nothing to do with their child with a disability. So we try to identify what factors help families be resilient, and that those factors may involve coping and resources from their social support network, from the people that they love and their friends, and also sometimes their spiritual beliefs and their value systems. And we are seeking and developing interventions that help families play and build on these aspects of resilience. And we also study aspects of vulnerability. Again, these are resources or difficulties that all families have. And they may be exposure to stress, multiple competing demands for limited time, financial constraints as well. And we try to understand the factors that promote resilience and that reduce vulnerability in families who happen to have a child with a developmental disability. Well, Fragile X syndrome is a natural for the kind of research that I do, because Fragile X is a family disorder. And so unlike Down syndrome, where parents don't have the disorder and then pass it to their child, it's a sporadic genetic condition. But Fragile X syndrome is an inherited genetic source of developmental disabilities. And therefore, when we study the family as a whole, we're studying multiple affected individuals, not necessarily the same multiple affected individuals from family to family. But in our study, where the individuals with Fragile X syndrome have the full mutation of Fragile X, in general, the mothers also carry either the pre-mutation of Fragile X or the full mutation of Fragile X syndrome. And the likelihood of having a second child or more than one child with Fragile X syndrome or the premutation of Fragile X in the family is quite high compared to other types of developmental disabilities. So it's a natural for researchers who are concerned about the family impact of disability and also how the family may foster optimal development in children with developmental disabilities for Fragile X to take center stage. Because of the low incidence of Fragile X syndrome, we've had to recruit nationally. And the 147 families come from all over the United States, and one family from Canada. And so this is really a national sample, and in general, we know that the prevalence of Fragile X is higher than the number of diagnosed individuals. It's an underdiagnosed condition, and that, of course, affects the prospects of recruiting families for a study like this. And also, we are interested in families who have a son or daughter age 12 or over, and so that segments the population who could participate in our study. Registries really make a difference in terms of the ability of research projects to recruit families who bear certain characteristics, such as age or gender or any other characteristic that might make a family eligible or not eligible for a study.